A world where human suffering is a vestige of the past. Doctors, as we know them, have all but disappeared. Diseases and disability have been consigned to the history books. That's the promise of 21st century medicine. Genetic engineering, robot surgery, and computerization are about to usher in an era of perfect health. Modern medicine's vision of the future sees a world of designer body parts and universal cures for major diseases like cancer and heart disease, as our dream of immortality moves a step closer.
This is 44 here. I've got an accident. Request medical assistance immediately.
Okay, 44. Looks pretty bad. Stay with the boy. Help's on the way.
It's 2010, and scenes like this have become an everyday occurrence. From accident scene to operating theatre, 21st century technology is set to revolutionize medicine as we know it.
This is the mobile unit. We have a situation here. We're about to take a scan. Would you look at it, please?
Transmit the scans, please. Okay, you won't need a helicopter for him. You can send him by ambulance.
Okay.
But send him to St. Mary's.
The future will be a very wonderful place. I think that the kind of technologies we're looking at will create wonders that we can hardly imagine today.
I think in the future we will be able to predict nearly all diseases and therefore intervene before they become substantial problems for the individual.
So my prediction is in 25 years medicine will have moved almost entirely to being preventive.
Future Hospital. The revolution begins here. In the hospital of the future, surgeons may never actually see or touch the patient. Imagine a journey inside the patient's body. Surgeons thread their way between organs to conduct precision surgery. Doctors from a US Boston hospital are pioneering virtual surgery.
We'll spin it around a little bit and check it from some other angles.
Combining live pictures from a video camera with computer-enhanced body scans. It's already been used to help a young girl born with facial deformities.
In her particular case, what was wrong was that the eyes were too far apart, and actually the eyes protruded in front of the skull bones. And so what we're able to do is we're actually able to take the original slices, these are CT slices, and we assemble them back into a three-dimensional model. What we then can do is simulate how we can cut these bones, move them to new positions, so that they're a better approximation of what normal anatomy should be.
The result, a new face and a new self-image.
The surgeon has decided he wants to move this piece of anatomy. Let me turn the skin off and we'll look at the bone.
Medical experts predict that by 2004, imaging technology like this will also be used to diagnose patients and create designer body parts. Today, the pictures obtained from X-rays, CAT scans, and ultrasounds are two-dimensional images of 3D objects. Researchers at Australia's University of Queensland are developing a new process called stereolithography, creating 3D images from conventional X-rays. These are then scanned before lasers construct the bone part required. The custom-built prosthesis forms layer by layer, rising out of a chemical-based cocktail, an exact life-size replica of the scanned area.
You can see that we've made implants
The creation of designer body parts on demand is expected to become a reality early next century. But not all surgery will depend on operating inside the patient's body. One of the fastest growing areas is in non-invasive procedures.
The first thing I have to do is just sort of try this on for size. You got your hearing aids working?
Yeah.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Good, okay.
At 81, Homer is too old for conventional brain surgery, needed to treat the symptoms of his Parkinson's disease.
Bar there, which in his case is probably fine.
With this gamma knife, instead of a scalpel, doctors are using precision beams of cobalt radiation to treat the nervous condition which causes his body to shake uncontrollably. Homer's brain is scanned from various angles by magnetic resonance before a computer calculates exactly where to target the gamma rays. A single beam would damage tissue as it passes through, but 200 weaker beams combine at the precise area to produce a lesion that blocks his excessive nerve impulses.
Mr. Kane, Dr. Young here. How you doing?
Right.
Very good. We have about 17 minutes to go. Will you be happy to get out?
Beautifully.
Very good.
After only 90 minutes, the treatment is finished and Homer can get back to a normal, less shaky life.
Piece of cake.
Eliminating the scalpel is one thing, but surgeons too may ultimately be replaced by robots. Scientists here at Grenoble in France are pioneering new techniques in robot-assisted brain surgery. By 2020, they predict robot surgeons will make surgical error a problem of the past. Here, a modified industrial robot is conducting a brain tumor biopsy with the help of a computer to control its position. The first operation using closed-circuit telesurgery was performed in Italy in 1995. The procedure was performed by a robot controlled by doctors at a terminal 10 kilometers away. In this demonstration, a small balloon of water inserted into a piece of meat represents a suspect area in the prostate gland. In the 21st century, robotic and telesurgery will increase the life-saving reach of super specialists to all corners of the globe and beyond.
Robots will probably be conducting a lot of our surgery with only human surveillance rather than direct human intervention. Over the next 5 to 10 years, we'll have our patients swallowing small robotic devices capable of carrying out a whole range of interventions all over the body.
At the current pace of development, robot surgeons you can swallow should be a reality by 2020. Nanotechnologists are poised to produce tiny machines built from individual molecules. Today, the smallest machines available are made of silicon and are thinner than a human hair. By 2020, molecular engineered machines will be the size of a nanometer. That's a millionth of a millimeter, or 10,000 times thinner than a human hair.
Today's surgical tools are very large and very crude at that level. So even the finest surgeon's scalpel, from the point of view of a cell, is this large, blunt instrument more suited to rip and tear than to heal and mend. But in the future, with molecular manufacturing, we should be able to make surgical tools that are molecular, both in their size and in their precision. For the first time, we'll be able to intervene at the root causes and to cure disease and illness where they start.
Eventually, our medical tools will be as small as the cells at the root of many medical problems. For now, though, much larger robots are finding a place in the treatment of all kinds of disabilities.
Correcting disability.
Futuristic developments in robotics are offering new hope for the disabled. Manus is a unique android arm being perfected in Holland to help people like Peter who have trouble performing everyday functions. Able to move in 3 dimensions, it's part of a growing area of technology effectively reducing disabilities to manageable levels.
Hello, Peter.
Now Peter can perform the kinds of tasks that most of us take for granted. Advanced electronic controls for the disabled are being created by rehabilitation engineers at Britain's Lord Mayor Treloar College. For those with little coordinated movement, a modified computer keyboard can change their lives. Keith has been paralysed since birth. He only has the use of his tongue. Yet with this custom-designed switch, he can drive his own wheelchair or operate a computer. Joysticks from computer games and pressure sensors allow 13-year-old Stephanie to use her own computer console. Special sensors are also being developed, allowing students like Nina to operate her computer with simple head movements.
Excellent.
You see young children come in and you can see them mature through the college, and with the appropriate engineering and therapy input as well as education, they leave as young adults with greater independence and greater confidence.
Sam Chesterman strolls through shopping centres with ease. But Sam was born without legs.
I don't think about it. You know, I get up in the morning and I go to work, I hold down a full-time job and I run a home. Especially for a young girl, I thought that I was never going to get married or have a boyfriend or, you know, be able to dress nicely.
Thanks to these intelligent legs, Sam is striding into the science fiction world of cybernetics. Her remarkable freedom hinges on these artificial knees and the way they swing the feet during the complex balancing act of walking.
How does it feel?
It's a little bit too fast, needs to come down a bit.
On the right one?
Yes.
Under development by the English company Blatchford, Sam's intelligent legs are powered by pistons that function like muscles. They also host a microprocessor, complete with sensors that can adapt to movement. If Sam breaks into a sprint, it's automatically detected and the motor goes up a gear.
Yeah, that feels really good.
Can you maintain that speed?
Yeah.
The next step, artificial limbs even closer to the real thing.
How does that feel?
Yeah, that feels very comfortable.
We should be able to, perhaps in the next 15 years, see the first bionic or cybernetic limb systems, if not earlier.
Artificial muscle is already being developed at America's University of New Mexico. With fibers that contract and relax using chemical reactions, synthetic muscles will eventually produce more natural artificial limb movements. For those with muscle disorders, medicine will offer a range of treatments, including radical new wonder drugs. Tracy Fitzpatrick has cerebral palsy, which causes reduced muscle control and leaves her partially lame.
Could be on television. That makes things quite difficult for her to walk because she's walking on the outside of her foot.
The first step in Tracy's treatment is to place sensors on her legs so doctors can record how cerebral palsy is affecting her gait. Pressure plates on the floor measure the impact of her tiny steps, while an infrared camera monitors the trajectory of her walk.
That's lovely, well done.
The results help the doctors target the exact muscles that require treatment. It comes from the most unlikely source. The bacteria botulinum is the deadliest substance known to man. Just 10 billionths of a gram is enough to relax Tracy's spastic muscles for more than 6 months. Within days, the botulinum wonder drug has acted and Tracy's condition has significantly improved.
The possibility to investigate and utilise surprise drugs in the future will be greatly enhanced by our ability to in fact analyse the potential role in a whole range of disease and conditions.
Imagine that you had a medication that with a single dose could completely block the desire to use drugs for months to years. Imagine that you had a medication that with a single dose could completely block all of the signs of physiological withdrawal. That's the promise of Ibogaine.
The active ingredients in Ibogaine work by helping addicts unlearn the habits of drug abuse. A single dose interrupts addictive behavior by targeting the neural circuitry laid down when the addiction was formed.
Step up here. I'm going to position you. And let me get your heel in the right position here.
Tests show the drug doesn't impair other brain functions such as balance and coordination.
We're all set.
The complex mix of addictions, phobias and other problems emerging from both chemical and learned influences continues to attract scientific attention. For some people, a psychological phobia, like the fear of heights, can be a serious problem.
I'm the only person that's been to the Grand Canyon twice, and I've never seen it. Never seen it.
How does that feel?
It's fine.
Okay. So
it may look like an arcade game, but this is virtual reality being used as psychological therapy.
Okay. How far down there do you think that is?
50 feet.
50 feet? Okay. Okay, I want you to press the button and go forward.
Dr. Ralph Lamson, a Californian psychologist, is pioneering virtual therapy for a range of problems.
Good, you're doing well.
And my hands are perspiring.
The patient is guided through an imaginary world of challenges, while pulse rate and blood pressure are measured to keep track of the stresses on the body.
I don't think I could have done this before, frankly.
Okay. You're fine. Keep breathing. You've done this before.
Virtual reality allows a person to gradually confront their problem, all in the relative safety of the treatment room.
There you go.
90% of patients overcome their phobia in 3 months. Mary Ann is one of the success stories.
It's okay, look, I'm doing it. No hands.
I think this is a wonderful invention. I think it could help people who are claustrophobic or someone who's afraid to go outside, afraid of people, and it can be used in so many ways. I wish you could do something for smoking.
You ready to go? Sure.
Virtual reality is finding increasing acceptance in both conventional and alternative medicine. Dolphin-assisted therapy, or DAT, is already helping people with diseases like cancer, AIDS, autism, and mental illness. Being developed by the American company Aquathought, Virtual Dolphins is a futuristic, multi-sensory experience. This neuromap shows human brainwaves as different colors on a computer screen. Before the swim, left, stressed areas appear red. After the swim, right, a dominant purple theta pattern explains why 75% of dolphin swimmers experience an enhanced sense of well-being. Both sides of the brain have also become synchronized, a unique phenomenon not otherwise seen in human brainwaves.
Dr. Dolphin may definitely be a thing of the future. I mean, I think it's very likely that dolphin-assisted therapy is going to continue to be applied to a number of different diseases. Whether or not this is going to be a replacement for any kind of traditional medicine or therapeutic psychology, I doubt it. But I think it's definitely a field that's going to grow dramatically.
Curing disease.
Nature has provided our ancestors with medicines and cures for thousands of years. Traditional cultures have survived for centuries without the need for modern drugs.
Thumb in the mouth.
The Chinese, for example, are known for eating foods with medicinal properties. All kinds of concoctions, including scorpions, black ants, and venomous fish, are renowned for their properties in preventing disease.
Well, certainly it's the case that medical technology has been extending our lives for many years now, and I don't think that that trend is going to stop.
The next millennium should see a convergence of modern and ancient remedies as medicine moves more towards the preventive. In Ireland, for example, the healing properties of seaweed have been recognized for centuries. It's becoming more widely accepted in scientific circles, and a medicinal powder that stimulates blood circulation is now being manufactured. Mushrooms, too, are a rich source of natural drugs. They've been found to help boost the body's immune system and lower blood cholesterol. Then there's the lowly leech. From headaches to hemorrhoids, the leech was touted as the universal cure. Scientists have recently discovered that leech saliva contains a powerful anticoagulant which thins the blood and helps prevent stroke and heart attack. Leeches are now being farmed and their saliva extracted in the hope that it may be the basis for a new drug that will one day cure the Western world's biggest killer. Obesity and high cholesterol diets are the major cause of heart-related illnesses, which claim 1 million lives a year in North America alone. But in the small Italian village of Limone Sagada, scientists have discovered that many of the locals have a genetic mutation that makes them immune to the ill effects of too much cholesterol. Valerio Daniello is one of them. Despite extremely high cholesterol levels, his arteries reveal no harmful effects. Doctors discovered Valerio's condition was shared with many members of his extended family. They all have an extra gene that's 10 times more effective than normal genes in removing excess cholesterol. A Swedish pharmaceutical company is now working on synthesizing the compound. A drug that could eradicate cholesterol-induced heart disease would save millions of lives.
I think it's possible that many of the risk factors that go with heart disease, such as the buildup of cholesterol in the arteries, can be managed by an anti-cholesterol vaccine.
The French, too, enjoy a diet rich in saturated fats, yet they have one of the lowest rates of heart disease in the Western world. Scientific research has revealed that the flavonoids and antioxidants in red wine thin the blood and prevent arterial clogging. Now a French pharmaceutical company is working on encapsulating the benefits of red wine without the hangover. Made from grape pulp, the red wine pill is alcohol-free. Heart disease is increasing, but a new tool for its early detection is an eye-opening experience.
I'll be moving this camera in and out.
Physicians in the UK have found that the eye can be a window to whether we are prone to heart attack or stroke.
The angle formed by these two daughter vessels as they come
By
off
measuring the diameter and angles between each blood vessel, scientists have discovered that people with arteries that branch at acute angles are more susceptible to heart attack. When it does happen, the current method to get the heart rhythm back in sync is to defibrillate it with a massive 2,000-volt shock. But future doctors may be able to stop a heart attack with a tiny 5-volt shock by administering a new form of electric therapy at the correct stage of the heart rhythm.
We can actually go back into the heart and actually bring it under control in many situations. We're trying to then to affect the system in a subtle way, the way the human body does it, rather in a very gross way, the way an engineer might typically go about it and just hit it with a big enough hammer to get it to reset.
The idea is to stimulate the heart back into a regular rhythm by using a series of very small pulses.
Okay, see now it's out of aphid. This is normal sinus rhythm right here.
For some people with failing hearts, transplant surgery has already changed their lives. Today, hundreds of heart transplant operations take place every year. But there's never enough donors to meet demand.
A great tragedy. And it is a perverse business because we are relying at the moment on well people to die for sick people to live. And if you think about it, that's actually crazy.
Early in the next century, those in need will be able to receive transplant organs from animals.
Pigs are an obvious choice because they have the same blood groups as man, they're about the same size, they're easy to farm, and you get lots of them.
Hi, are these the latest southern blots? And,
Currently, transplanting a pig heart into a human causes the foreign organ to be rejected and the person to die. But British scientists are developing a way to overcome the problem. They're breeding genetically altered pigs whose organs trick the recipient's immune systems into believing they're human.
Lovely.
Human genes are inserted into a pig's fertilized ovum, so when it becomes an adult, its heart will be biologically similar to a human's. By about 2005, it's expected pigs will be genetically engineered to become universal organ donors. Then one person won't have to die to give another a new lease of life.
At the turn of the century, it was said that it would be impossible to ever operate on the heart. Now it's routine. Similarly, I suspect that cancer, which is currently requiring a lot of surgical effort and energy, will disappear as a surgical condition because we will no longer be preoccupied with removing the cancerous growth, but rather manipulating the causes that lead to it.
New insights into the causes of cancer can also be expected in the next millennium. A futuristic data-based imaging system is offering hope that malignant melanomas can be detected and treated in their early stages. SkinView works by combining images from a camera with computer software programmed by the world's top melanoma experts. It can diagnose whether melanomas are benign or malignant. Early trials show it's already as reliable as human specialists. Cancer is the world's #2 killer, claiming more than 6 million lives each year. A drug being derived from the bark of the Pacific yew tree offers new hope for cancer victims. Taxol works by stopping the cancer cells multiplying with minimal damage to the surrounding healthy cells.
Your treatment will last until tomorrow, and then we'll see you back in 3 weeks from now.
Right.
Used in conjunction with other drugs, Taxol has been found to help 50% of women with breast cancer and 30% of those with ovarian cancer. Rita is one of the lucky ones. After being treated with Taxol, there was an astonishing turnaround in her condition.
I think arguably the greatest breakthrough in modern medicine that has occurred this century was the advent of antibiotics. This was something that could never have been foreseen at the beginning of the century, yet has completely revolutionised care and treatment for patients around the world. I think in the future that just as antibiotics have virtually eradicated many infectious diseases this century, we will have technology that will enable us to eradicate cancer in the future.
Traditionally, cancer treatment has been invasive and non-specific. Surgery, chemo and radiotherapy may deal with the cancer, but also damage the body's own tissues. By the 21st century, a precision treatment called proton therapy could change all that. Equipped with a special mask and a 3D wax mold, these doctors are mounting a selective attack on cancer cells. Protons enable greater doses of energy to be targeted much more effectively when treating cases like prostate cancer.
When I walk out the door of the hospital, I'm walking out without cancer. There was no needle, no knife, no anesthetic, no hospital stay.
Proton therapy is precise, but an amazing new Norwegian development called Dynabeads can actually harvest cancer cells from blood, one cell at a time. Dynabeads are synthetic molecules, just a fraction of a millimeter in diameter. They can remove just one cancer cell from as many as 1 million healthy ones. That's 1,000 times more accurate and effective than previous cancer treatments. Under a scanning tunneling microscope, Dynabeads can be seen here moving strands of DNA, demonstrated by using a magnet to control their behavior. First, the dynabeads are coated with a specific antibody and added to the patient's bone marrow. They can then locate cancer cells and attach to them. The extracted blood is placed on a magnetic plate, so the dynabeads can be drawn off with the cancer cells attached. The purified blood is then reintroduced into the patient. For Ile, a patient at the Norwegian Radiation Hospital, this is good news. Suffering from lymphatic cancer, her chances of survival were 6 times higher after the dynabead treatment compared with conventional therapy. By 2030, precision technology like this will give rise to molecular probes that could travel inside the body and eradicate individual cancer cells.
Now, if you had a small molecular device which had on board a small computer and a few simple sensors, then it could do something quite complex compared with current drugs, and it could use several different tests to decide whether it was in a cancer cell or in a normal cell. And if it found it was in a cancer cell, it could open a little door and release a poison.
If precision technology can cure cancer, can it be used against AIDS? The AIDS epidemic continues to spread, particularly in Africa and India. Here in Bombay, 1,000 people become infected every day. The death rate is the equivalent of a Hiroshima bomb exploding every month.
Asia will be the centre of the world's AIDS epidemics. At the moment, we think somewhere in excess of 20 million people are already infected. By the turn of the century, we would expect at least 40 million. And the one thing that is certain is it will get a lot worse than that before it'll ever get better.
In some areas of Africa, up to half the population is infected with HIV. Unless future medicine can find a cure, it's predicted by the year 2015, 70 million people here will be infected. HIV spreads in the body by attaching itself to cells in our immune system. At some point, often years later, the virus directs these T cells to manufacture more viruses, killing the cells. This lowers the infected person's resistance to disease. They then often succumb to a range of infections.
We've come a very long way in the last 6 years in understanding the details of this virus. It's far more complex than we anticipated. Some of those complexities work to our advantage because some of them give us opportunities for drug development.
So now there is hope. A combination of inhibitor drugs is already proving effective in containing the damage caused by AIDS. Combination therapy, where patients take several different drugs, has already resulted in the AIDS virus being reduced to undetectable levels and the T-cell count rising dramatically. But a vaccine will not be available until early next century at least.
There's no question in my mind that we're going to develop a vaccine that is capable of preventing HIV infection, or at least preventing the disease that HIV infection causes.
Scientists believe that AIDS and a host of other diseases will eventually be cured by gene therapy. Arguably, it's one of the hottest trends in current medical research.
A cure for death.
Scientists throughout the world are mapping the genetic makeup of the human body in what is one of the biggest global scientific projects ever attempted. One of the benefits will be to unlock the underlying causes of disease. Costing $3 billion, the Human Genome Project involves thousands of people and an array of computers to separate and sequence the DNA. To map all 3.5 billion human genes is like rewriting an encyclopedia, with every letter of every page completely jumbled. Yet scientists have already identified 80% of our genetic blueprint, and the project will be complete by the year 2005. Geneticists have also located the genes responsible for more than 6,000 diseases, including cystic fibrosis, colon cancer, and Alzheimer's. The next step, genetic engineering to prevent the disease arising in the first place.
My prediction is in 25 years, medicine will have moved almost entirely to being preventive. The idea would be you could carry around a card that would have those genes that compromise your ability to live a normal lifespan, and for each, you'd have some preventive measure that you could take that would circumvent those limitations.
Leroy Hood's US research company, Darwin Molecular, is attracting some powerful backers.
In a certain unusual sense, it's just programming DNA, and we should be able to debug DNA just like a software program.
Once scientists understand our genetic susceptibility to a disease, they'll be able to modify that gene with a drug or virus. By 2020, genetic engineers hope to be able to program the body to be completely disease-free. We may then never die.
The history of the human race has been the history to find immortality, if not on this earth, then in the next world. The ability to manipulate the biological code of life, to become a sovereign architect and engineer over future generations, if that isn't the most heady and radical experiment in the history of our species, I don't know what is.
The genetic engineers are already at work. Dolly the sheep was created by scientists. There was no sex, no sperm, and no fertilization. She was created from an adult cell using micro-injection technology developed by the team at the Roslin Institute in Scotland. Their experiment showed that scientists can clone an identical individual from any cell in the body. It's feasible that future scientists could engineer large numbers of genetically identical humans.
But even if you made a copy, it wouldn't be the same child, grown up at a different time with all of the pressures in that family, of course. It would not be the same person. It would be a genetically identical copy.
Arguably, the most promising technology for achieving eternal life will come from cryonics, the science of deep freezing the body and reanimating it later. Russian surgeons have already shown that parts of the body can be cooled to very low temperatures and still survive. At the Research Institute of Circulation Pathology in Siberia, thousands of lives have been saved by open-heart ice surgery. Body organs are cooled to protect them from injury. At lower temperatures, less energy is needed to keep tissues alive. The heart can survive for 90 minutes and the brain for 75 minutes at significantly reduced temperatures. But could humans ever survive being completely frozen? The Canadian wood frog may hold the key. This creature survives the harsh winter by letting itself freeze solid, then thawing out in the spring. Yet it avoids cell damage by pumping an enormous amount of glycerol from the liver to the tissues as they freeze. With this knowledge, human cryopreservation may yet be possible. At least 4 American companies are prepared for the day when the big chill no longer means death. Stored inside these containers are the heads and bodies of 27 people who've chosen cryosuspension. They're frozen in liquid nitrogen. Cell damage is reduced by injecting glycerol into the body. These cryonauts are today's patients waiting for tomorrow's medicine to revive them. Current predictions put that day at around 2040, less than halfway into the next century.
If indeed we develop a medical technology which can reverse startling levels of damage, then the definition of death will change. People who today would be considered dead will in the future be considered merely very sick, very ill. They will be considered suitable for medical resuscitation rather than burial.
For those who don't wish to be frozen, another alternative may be biotransfer.
I think that someday in the future, our descendants will have the opportunity to transfer their consciousness to an alternative medium when their bodies are about to expire.
Transferring the contents of the human mind may soon be as easy as copying files from one computer to another. But will we ever be able to biotransfer our personalities? Studies by Dutch scientists have found that 1 in 5 people who die and are later revived have an out-of-body experience. We may yet find biological evidence of a human soul. The medical minds of this century have radically altered the delicate balance between life and death. In the 21st century, medicine will achieve what seems to us now as the impossible.
Over the next 100 years, the challenge will be to find ways of replacing aging cells with new, young cells so that we are all, as individuals, able to go on for an indefinite period of time.
Imagine what it was like 100 years ago, and think of someone in the 1890s trying to look forward to what the future would be, to what kind of technologies we'd have. And now, imagine that process again 100 years from now.
To most of us, immortality may seem like science fiction. In the next 100 years, it could become a biological fact.